Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the show, where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs and, happenstantially today, real estate service providers. So I've got a treat for you guys today, someone that you've probably not heard of in the real estate community quite yet, although you will, and somebody that is an absolute phenom, someone that we haven't had anybody like on the show before. I got Ryan Sullivan in the studio. Ryan makes music and podcasts. He's actually a rapper, and I think he might spit some bars for us here on the show, but we'll find out. We'll go right into it. His music career started gaining traction in 2019, and then he's pivoted into helping real estate investors start their own podcasts after finding a need for that. Because at the end of the day, you're out doing real estate, and you need somebody on the back end that knows what they're doing to help your marketing just exponentially grow. He's actually launched over 200 podcasts for his clients, has no intentions of stopping. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to go all over the place today. But remember, before we do it, Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted in order to live the lives they've always dreamed of. That being said, Ryan, welcome to the show today.
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad I randomly found this ad and it popped up 3 to 5 times. And I said, that's fate. Got to be on this show. Let's see what Steve's all about. And yeah, man, haven't disappointed yet. Love the energy. Excited for this.
Love it, man. I'm glad to have you here. It's cool. I was telling Ryan before the show, something that y'all probably don't know about me either, because I don't really talk about it, is I actually rapped when I was in high school, put out 4 albums. And so this is like talking to a kindred spirit with for me. So, Ryan, tell us just a little bit about how you got started and how you got to where you're at today with everything you're doing.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm from a small town in New Jersey, ironically enough. Yes, there are lots of small towns there in North Jersey on the border of Pennsylvania. And I'm a country boy, man. That's how I grew up. Horse, chickens, my neighbor, I could see my neighbor's cow from my window, all that stuff. And really enjoyed it. Loved living like that. Fast forward to high school, got a job as a mechanic. At the same time, I was making music, just like you. I was making raps, recording an EP. In 2018, and that was my first foray into music myself. But fast forward a little bit more, I go figure myself out in college. What am I going to do? Found this podcast called Joe Rogan. So started listening to him. He had a guy on called Tim Ferriss, who has a book called The 4-Hour Work Week. So I bought that book. And there's another guy who he had on named Sam Harris. So I bought his book called Waking Up. So these were kind of my digital mentors along the way. Then it became Gary Vee. Then I went on to meet Gary Vee. Then I had Rob Dyrdek on my podcast as well, and he became a mentor. So throughout the years, man, whether it's music, podcast, business, I'm a creative. So that's how I got into this, to tell the real truth. But worked for a terrible marketing agency in 2019, 2020-ish, and just saw the writing on the wall, quit. Started my own business. So that was in 2020 when I started this.
That's amazing. We've got very similar backgrounds. Actually what's very interesting is when I was looking at really pursuing music or what path to go down, I chose not to go to college, and I chose to get a real job because I was engaged at the time.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
That didn't work out, but I was engaged. I was like, man, I got to go get a big boy job. And so my entire goal was to go and make enough money to then be able to do what I actually wanted to do and was passionate about. And, unfortunately life changed. I did getting married. I got a bunch of kids now. And, I'm really happy with where I'm at, but there was almost a reinvention that I had to have of like, realizing I'm not going to be a rapper someday. It's probably not a positive lifestyle to bring a family into. I know Snoop Dogg's doing pretty decent at it, but what was it for you when you were in that process of working that allowed you to continue pursuing that dream and then realizing if I'm going to be doing this on the side, I've obviously got to figure out how to live, and music takes a while to actually gain traction. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, so I mean, it was a combination of things, but I think the timing was pandemic 2020, because even if I wanted to go out and perform, I couldn't. Sure, I can make music. I made a lot of music in that time, but yeah, it's not like I could make a song and then sell a song, right, and then make money, right? So what I could do though is I already had a podcast, so I kept interviewing people. Every single person I had on gave me a new idea for what I could do, right? And I had somebody on who did freelancing. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try freelancing, right? And so the podcast kept me going with ideas. The music I continued to create as I went when we were all locked down and we couldn't perform. And then, at that same time, or fast forward a little bit, I get a client, still 2020, but I get a client, $5,000 contract to produce their podcast. And Gary Busey was a guest, like CEO of Wounded Warrior, CEO of the USO, like all of these like super high level people, chefs, Robert Irvine from the Food Channel, like these are all guests on the second podcast I ever produced. So I was like, well, oh my God, I'm moving in podcasting. I'm moving like 100 times faster than I was moving, with music. Right. So I just leaned in, man, and that's, I just leaned in and kind of let it go. But now it, even not now, just always, it all forms together, but now I have a little bit clearer of a picture of how that actually works.
Sure. So I'm not sure how much business you've, at least personal development in an actual like business sense or sales that you've done, but like in business, we would call that like being vertically integrated, which in the creative arts, like essentially what you did is you've been able to vertically integrate everything you're doing to where you're spending time on multiple things, but it all relates to the main overall thing.
Yes. And the perfect example, I do a show on Friday, and it's at this place that used to be an Amazon fulfillment center. And then Amazon ended up selling it, and somebody bought it and ended up subletting some of it or renting it out. They rent out this corner of it, and that corner is where the show is, like this big room, maybe 30 by 60 room. Real estate storage guys love it. They would have been all over it. But they rent this out and they have the show there. And I asked the owner, I'm like, so what are your goals with, this space? And they're like, well, we're actually, really looking to sublet it. We're looking to have other businesses and creatives, be a part of it. Right. So that's an instance where I came in for the music. I'm performing because of a promoter that I know from music and DJing. But at the same time, I can also make a deal with this person who, owns this studio space to maybe have my podcast business in there, right? So yeah, it truly does all come together, whether we even know it or not.
Yeah. So with the clients, like when you landed that first deal, you talk about you landed your first $5,000 contract to produce this show. Was that just like a one-time deal? This is going to be a two-part question, but short question more so for my context. Was that like a one-time contract of like produce the show and then it's done, or was that like a monthly retainer as well on top of that? Or
yeah, so that first one was a 10 episode, I believe, contract.
Okay. So that's great context. So $5,000 for 10 episodes, basically $500 per episode. Obviously, all the setup, everything that goes into it.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
But how did that happen? Like, you just had your show and someone reached out to you and said, hey, let me do this for me. How did that happen?
I will start that answer with I'm becoming more of a faith-based believer as my life goes on, which happens a lot, right?
Sure.
But I'm not,
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
really, right? And I'm not to say I'm not. I'm just not maybe where you are. I'm not all the way there, right? It's a spectrum. But funny enough, I don't know. We still don't know how that client found me. They had my phone number. They called me and they said, hey, are you the podcast guy? And I said, yes. Right. And I leaned in and I said, yes, I wasn't, but I was to them.
Right.
Context, right? So he still doesn't know how he found my number. Now, let's think logically. I was posting on Upwork, right? I don't know if I applied for their thing on Upwork or not. I also had my LinkedIn. Like, who knows? Like, maybe he searched and found me. Maybe we don't really know, right? So the answer is I don't know, but most likely from putting something out there, at least on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's really good. I love what you said there too, as far as like, becoming more faith-based and making that real for yourself. I was raised in it, walked away from it, and even coming from that background, it's one of those things like as an adult, I've seen the way that the universe was created and the principles that are in the universe and how things work together, and how I've been in situations that I look back on and just thought it was normal. And then I tell the story to people and they're like, how the shit did you do that? I'm like, I really have no clue. To where it would almost be stupid for me to not believe in something that's greater than myself, So I love how you put it like that. And, sometimes those things will always remain a mystery. But when did you get that client and then realize, oh, this could actually be a thing, to where you've now produced over 200 shows? Like, when was that realization for you?
So before I got that client, I worked for a marketing agency, and I was brought on to, I thought I was brought on to edit the podcast. So we'll reverse back to 2019. You could put a sound effect there. And we're in 2019. I'm in college, so in university, paying for college. And I apply. The guy who I had on my podcast, his name's Tori Grant. Shout out to Tori, very incredible skateboarder. Also does social media management. I don't know if he still does that, but he was like the 25-year-old cool entrepreneur guy who I got introduced to from my friend. Right? He comes on my show. I'm making six figures doing this. So anyway, he is like, yeah, you can use Upwork and you can apply for jobs, and that's how you can get gigs, right? And I was like, okay. So I apply for social media management, don't get it. I applied to do a voiceover. I got it, $80. Took me 3 months, right? Then I'm like, oh, I have a podcast. I edit my own podcast. Let me try to edit podcasts, right? So I'm on there. I get to the end of it. I'm like, no credits left. I'm like, going to have to buy more credits. And so there's a company who needs a podcast producer. I book a call on their website, right? I don't know why they put their website name. I book a call with the founder. He was like, I like how you did this. I like how you weren't supposed to book a call, but you said that you were a company just so you can talk to me. And he's like, I like that. So why don't you come in the city, into New York, and do an interview? I said, okay. I'm walking to the interview. This is a 2-hour commute to get to this interview. And I'm like, why am I doing an interview to edit a podcast? Right? Like, this is not an in-person job. So I realized I didn't even know what I was interviewing for. Turns out he wants me to produce the podcast, edit the podcast, book the guests, schedule the episodes, distribute, market, end-to-end, everything with the podcast, right? So that was my first client, who then became a part-time job. That was the marketing company who failed and went bankrupt, so I left. Then I got the job with, it was called Signal Relief, which was the product they were promoting. That was the $5,000 contract, right? So I went from freelancing with one company to contracting with the next.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And then I got a gig editing audio for a guy named Mo Ali. His name's actually Muhammad Ali, but he goes by Mo Ali. He's a very well-known soccer influencer. If you look up Mo Ali soccer, you'll see him. So I was editing his. And then I did one with a guy named Jesse Fuchsia, who was called Wealth Science, which was all about real estate investing. Then I did one with one called Wealth Warehouse, which was about this thing called the infinite banking concept. And so it was just one at a time. It was just waiting for the next client. Once I got the $5,000 contract, I was like, this is at least a part-time job, right? My dad's still saying, like, you're in college, don't worry, this is going to be a thing that you do, and then you'll have to get a real job. Then I get another client, you'll have to get a real job. Then I go full-time. Well, do you have benefits? Yeah, I just bought benefits. Oh, okay, but you don't have these benefits, So that was always a recurring. I think now he gets it, but like it's been a long journey. But yeah, man, there was never a time when I was like, yep, now this is what I, do. Like I was a mechanic throughout basically all of this until I left my last job, my last mechanic job in 2022. I left my last part-time job as a DJ in 2023.
Mechanic as in like literally working on cars?
Working on car. What is that, an NSX behind you? Or?
It's a Koenigsegg Gemera.
Okay, Koenigsegg. Yeah, see, my exotic car game is not that good. Yeah, so I was working on Civics, Tahoes. I was doing R&R, man, remove and replace, and I worked at a small mom and pop shop. I mean, like that job is the best job I ever had in my entire life, probably still will be forever. And I still go back there all the time and really good friends with the family. It's family-owned business. Yeah, man, I still miss that job. It was really fun.
That's legit. Yeah, a little note on this car. You're actually the first person that's commented on it. Literally, I've had it up all year. And first person that's asked what it was. My wife actually bought it for me as a Christmas gift a year and a half ago, and it wouldn't show up in time. So she had to cancel the order and finally reordered it for this last Christmas for me. And we got it, and I thought it was a McLaren 720S, which is one of the cars that I really like. I just like the styling and the performance of it. And when I got it, I had never even heard of it. But apparently her and I had this obscure conversation one time where she goes, hey, I know you like McLarens, but like, what's like the real dream car? Like, if you could have any car, like, what would make you feel like you've made it? And I'm like, if I was really going to get something that's like, I've made it, it's got to be in the millions. And that would probably end up being a Koenigsegg. And so apparently she went and did research and then bought this metal framed Koenigsegg Gemera. But because for me, like in my head, I'm like, if I'm going to buy a $3 million car, I've got like FU money at that point, right?
And for anybody listening on the audio, it looks just like a Volkswagen Beetle.
100%. It does, for sure.
We'll leave you hanging with that.
I could get
I
for,
love it.
15 grand used.
It's the GT3 for me, or I guess GT4 they have now, the 911. So I had a guy on my podcast who had one, because I'm like, how hard is it to attain this car, right? And so I'm with you, man, whether it's having somebody on the podcast who has that or putting it on the wall. One of my friends, first podcast guest ever, Dan Valente, he has a Porsche now, but I think he has like the SUV version. So sorry, Dan, not as impressive, but he had a 370Z on his wall. And when I met him, he had the 370Z, like he did it, so, and then who knows what's on his wall now, but I actually love the strategy.
Have you heard of Dan Martell?
Have heard of Dan Martell.
Okay. So Dan Martell, if you're familiar, just for some context for you, hopefully our listeners will get this as well, but you mentioned a thing in there about how your dad was talking to you throughout the college process and being like, well, you don't have the benefits. What about this? What about that? And you were finding all those solutions. You know, I saw this really incredible clip from Dan where he was talking about his relationship with his dad. And when he got like really rich, he screenshot all his bank account info and he sent it to his dad. And his dad texted back and goes, "Oh my God, who's managing that for you?" Because to his dad, like he's always going to be the kid that ended up in jail twice before he was 20 years old, right? And so he said he reframes that to his dad saying, "I love you and I'm proud of you." Would you say that like the relationship with your dad now that you've had a lot of success with what you're doing has changed, or how has that evolved over time with him seeing like, maybe there is something to this podcasting thing that Ryan's doing?
Wow, great question. Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever asked that. Yeah, you know, he's been proud of me along the way. But I think now it's more like, well, I'll say it like this. So he's a union organizer. So his job is to not only get people into his particular union, but, you know, to also spread the word about, you know, what it's like being in the trades and in this particular trades, pipe insulation. Now it's at the point where he wants to connect with my connections in the skilled trades, right? He goes, maybe you can help us, right? And I DJ their company picnics and stuff like that too. But like, yeah, now it's like, how can Ryan help? You know, so that's the conversation change of like, how are you going to even pay rent? You know, or like, you guys will last a year in the first year in the apartment, we'll see, you know, like all those kind of comments are listen, I'm still 26. It's not like I have a lot of time here to keep going, hopefully. But that conversation has changed to like, okay, yeah, Ryan's definitely good at least this podcast stuff.
I love that. So he recognizes it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, he gets it. And on the opposite side, my sister is the opposite. Like, she's summa cum laude, just graduated, 3.99 GPA, broke multiple records in track and field, Penn relays, gonna go run D1 next year. Like, she's that. Like, she's like book smart, all the accolades. I'm the rebel. You tell me to do something, I do the opposite, you know? And so he has both of those children, so he's got a little bit of balance.
Man, I swear, seriously, I'm talking to like my life doppelganger right now. My sister's the same exact way, dude. Graduated, she's a doctor of physical therapy, 4.0 GPA through college and physical therapy school. Like, that's wild.
Yeah,
So
man.
crazy.
See, we're meant to be here on this podcast. That's for sure.
I'm telling you what. So let's switch gears just a little bit and talk about what you're doing for people in the real estate investing space, which is most of what our audience is, people that are established real estate investors or people that are wanting to get into it. This is a marketing channel for us to build more relationships with people and, ultimately also support the group that we have with Investor Fuel. So what are you doing in that space that's pretty unique?
Sure. So we help businesses use a tailored podcast strategy to achieve what they want. Right. So what that really means is let's find the combination of who you are, what you want to do, and the people you want to reach. Right. And so for people that this works for, podcast medium, it works insanely well. So to answer the question specifically, what do we do for real estate investors? Well, it's what they would like to do. That's what we help with, right? So they come in, for example, Mustafa, his name's Mustafa Lada. He would be great for the show. He's a mastermind in real estate. If you want to look him up, I think it's Ladha. He's a client of ours. He won't mind me saying this. He's about to launch his, and he's really doing it for content, for personal brand, right? To grow the name, and also essentially why you guys are doing this, right? Business development, generate connections, right? Now, if he got on his first podcast as a guest and absolutely hated it and wished he could just go and write instead, then he would never do a podcast, right? So podcasting is not for anybody who doesn't like podcasting, right? So for the real estate investor side, you can there's many different ways that we can take it. There's many different podcast strategies we can run, this podcast we're on being one of them. But in terms of what we do for them, it's to help them do what they want to do with their content. And typically that means a combination of not having to rely on an algorithm, wanting to be kind of like a person on a microphone that people listen to. And then number 3, are we also getting deals out of this too?
Mm-hmm. Well, that 100%. So with your process, tell me a little bit about your process when you onboard a client, and really, is it just literally done for you and all they have to do is show up and record, or is it more of a done with you process? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, so the consulting is done with you. The production is done for you. So that's just a real simple explanation. There's a mix of both, obviously, that do occur, but I'll just make it nice and simple as we're here now. We don't start with the podcast. When I work with a client, if they already have a podcast, I'm probably not going to mention it for the first month. If they don't have a podcast yet, I'm not going to send them to my podcast strategist to work with until they work with me for a month, right? Because there's no point in building and running all of this if we don't know why we're doing it and who we're doing it for. A lot of people start with the what. The what is the podcast. The what is what we do, right? So that's okay. That's a great way to start, but that's not a good way to grow, right? Ask Simon Sinek how to launch a podcast. You know what he's about to tell you. So that's what we start with, right? We start with, why a podcast? Are you even good for this? Most people might not vibe with podcasting. Cool. It's changed my life. Wouldn't be able to live without it, right? It's changed your life. You wouldn't be able to live without it now. But that's not the same for everybody. So let's start there. Cool. You figure it out. This is for me. I've done a few episodes. I've been a guest. I get it. I do want to do this. Awesome. Buyer journey. What is the journey that a prospect takes to take them from, I don't know who the hell you are, to here's my money, or here's my capital, or it's not a matter of if I'm going to be a part of your real estate syndication. It's just how much is the most amount that I can contribute, right? So that journey in between there, right, is what we focus on, and that's what we build the podcast off of.
Love that. Start with why. Shout out to Simon Sinek.
Yep.
Love that, man. I've got this thing I do on the podcast sometimes. I need to get one of those soundboards so I can have those sound effects and stuff. But I do this thing with certain people that I vibe with really well, which is a speed round of questions. It's a fun little game. You want to play?
I'm happy to, yeah.
Let's do it. So I got 6 questions teed up that I wrote while you were talking here. And the last one's a thinker. So the first 5 are supposed to be just like as fast as possible. Just clip it off. And then the 6th one is a little bit more of a thinker. You can take as much time as you want to answer it. So when you're ready, I'll get it going. I need like a drum roll sound effect now.
Yeah, man, you need what is it, a Rodecaster Pro? The board that have them send you one, man. Whoever you're working for, tell them it's mandatory. Tell them I said to. The podcast guy said to.
I'd probably just buy it myself. My problem is I am an expert. You want to know what I'm an expert at, Ryan? I'm an absolute expert at outkicking my coverage on buying stuff that takes years to learn how to use the proper way. And I find out how to use it in like 30 minutes and then never change. I have no idea. I did that with Ableton guitar. Like the only thing that I've done for a long period of time that I stuck with was piano, but I was forced to.
No, I gotta say, yeah. For me, it has been guitar, but it's been on and off, right? So, but anyway, yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready when you're ready.
All right, let's get it going. Okay. Obviously, we know this about you so far. You're a rapper. So, what's the Mount Rushmore of rap artists you've drawn inspiration from?
Action Bronson, Joey Badass, J. Cole.
Love it. Dream client for you to work with?
Joe Rogan.
Live video, podcast, or audio only?
Oh, live video.
Favorite show you've ever produced?
Bobcast.
If you weren't doing music or podcasts, what else would you do?
Oh, DJ.
If you had to go back to 2019, and this is the thinker, you had to go back to when it all started, what would you do different, and what would you do the same, knowing what you know today?
What I would do different? Make more art. What I would do the same? Everything that I did, but just make more art on top of it.
Well, apparently that 6th thing was a quick answer too, folks. Well, that's awesome.
Nice and easy, brother. I love it.
I love it.
So much fun.
What else? What else do you want to get out here? What's something we haven't uncovered yet that you really want to share about?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many ways to go with it. I would say this. A lot of times, here's a podcasting one that I think applies more to life too. The more successful you are, the bigger you think your audience should be. Right? So you see this with real estate a lot. Syndication, maybe real estate investor, maybe it's self-storage, maybe it's multifamily, right? Who knows, right? You get an investor and they've done it, right? They've nailed it. They've figured it out. They're, on paper, millionaires. Thus, I should have 1 million followers, or I should have 100,000 followers, right? So this is something as like, especially for the people that are new in the game, don't worry about personal branding. Don't worry about followers. Don't worry about starting a podcast. Figure out what you need to do next, right? Now that, for me, that meant personal brand. That meant going on LinkedIn. I get 50% of my business from posting on LinkedIn, right? I get the other 50% by doing podcasts like this, webinars, referrals, right? But that's what I had to do. I didn't have money. No money. So I had to go and market for free and sell for free, right? And coach for free and produce for free and edit for free. So that's what I chose to do. But just, I want, people are going to see, listen, I know Josh Dorkin from Bigger Pockets. Like, I've talked to him on LinkedIn. Don't know him personally, but like, I know the story. I know Bigger Pockets. Like, I understand. I've worked with some of the biggest real estate investors that there is. You know, I've been around them. I've been to meetups. I have friends who are multifamily fiends. I'm talking, they quit their job. They're 29 years old. And they're making more money than both of our parents combined in real estate, right? Just, it's not about followers though, right? It's about the skill set of the game. And if you focus on that, then you'll be good. So that's the one thing that you're going to see, especially in real estate, better drone footage, 6K, 8K, better videographer, right? Bigger LinkedIn following. We need more followers. We need more email subs. We need more YouTube views, blah, 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 blah. It's all good. It's awesome. Like, I'm with that. I'm a marketer myself, right? This is what I do. But that's just one thing that in this current landscape, like, you don't need followers. You need the right followers, right? You need the right people. And as long as you have the right people, you'll be fine. The concept of 1,000 true fans still works today. But it might be 10,000 for you, or it might be 100,000, but whatever it is for you.
Right. Man, that is so good. I don't think I've had anybody share that specifically on the show before. Really, I don't think I've had even a conversation with anybody, friend or new friend, that has brought that up. But to your point, you're 100% right. It's something even in my own life I've been really dialing in and focusing on. Is it's like, even if you build a personal brand, if you don't have that baseline skill set, you don't have that baseline credibility of doing something that you're the absolute expert at, building a personal brand doesn't matter in the first place, because if you jump ship 6 months later, then people are confused as to what you do.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have said this 2 years ago, right? I'm saying it now.
Right.
But I've also worked with branding experts, right?
Sure.
Any branding expert, their first piece of advice is never going to be about personal brand, right?
Right.
Because in your lifetime, what's going to make more money? Your business or you?
Realistically, you.
Well, it depends, I guess, how you look at business, right?
Right.
How
Depends
I
on
look
how many
at it.
businesses you have. I guess that's where I was going with that. But your business, let's say you're removed from it, your business for sure.
The more businesses you have, the less growth you have in any given business.
Sure.
What I'm saying is, you are always one person. You're always only going to need as much as you and your immediate family needs, right? Your business is 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, thousands of people. Your business is always going to make more money than you're ever going to make, right? Brand your business, right?
Right.
So, meaning do both, yes. The business is the asset.
Right.
A podcast is an asset. A YouTube video is an asset. How do we define an asset? These are all real estate people who are listening to this. How do we define an asset? Something that appreciates over time.
Right.
A social media post by default depreciates over time. It gets less value, less views, less engagement. It's gone tomorrow. That's not even a joke. So when it comes to this, the reason why I say focus not on the personal brand, but what you need to do, you probably need to grow your business, right? I'm not a fucking business guy. Like, I'm not an expert in business. I have a couple businesses. I hire people to help me grow it. That's not my expertise, right? But when I die, my family will get a life insurance, and then there will be a whole entire business there, right? That is an asset, right? So when you're an employee, you make the boss more money. That's how you make more money, right? When you're a business, you make the business more money. You work for the people within the business, then they work harder for you, and the business makes more money, and then you make more money, right? So it's all about that evolving loop. This isn't what you would think as like the podcast guy. I'm like supposed to say this. This is the people who I work with all believe in this. That's why they don't come to me with a follower number. They come to me with a revenue goal, right? And that's who I work with.
We're out here dropping bombs today. I feel like
Brad
I'm on
Lee, bro.
Brad Lee's show. Seriously, I'm telling you what, man. Brad's a cool dude. I've met him a couple times too. He's a good dude. Man, where can these people come connect with you, see what you're working on? If they want to connect for more, learn what you're all about, even more so than today.
So I'm actually on a 15-year journey of trying to be on the first page of Google for the name Ryan Sullivan. I'm on page 2 right now. So if you go to page 2, you'll find me. If you want to find me anywhere, Ryan R. Sullivan, you can just Google that. Everything's going to come up when you put the R in the middle there. And then if you type in SULLYBOP, Sullybop, then you might see some videos of me wrapping it up.
There you go, folks. Well, go connect with them, show them some love from the Investor Fuel family and the Real Estate Pros family. We appreciate you being here, Ryan. I'm sure these guys got as much value out of it today as I did. We'll see y'all on the next episode. Thanks again, Ryan.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.